Thank you for staying. As our commissioner, I chose an hour and a half to be here today. I would have assumed that he would have stayed also, but I guess I'll address you guys. I made the trip here today from Elizabeth because I felt compelled to appeal to this commission, and especially Mr. Hespy, who is not here, about what is happening in school districts around New Jersey. I will use my district as an example. In December, parents were sent home a letter from school quoting part of your October memo that said, state law and regulations require all students to take state assessments. Just in this one sentence, it gives the impression to parents that they must have their children take the test. This, as we all know, is not true. But then, two sentences down, it says, schools are not required to provide an alternative educational program for students who do not participate in the state assessment. Now, parents are really confused. What does this mean by students who do not participate? Can we not participate? But they just said before it was required. Furthermore, your memo went on to say, we encourage all chief school administrators to review the district's discipline and attendance policies to ensure that they address situations that may arise during the days of the statewide assessment. Okay, so now if my child doesn't take the test, the commissioner is encouraging school districts to review their discipline policy? This created a firestorm of confusion among parents and districts. So some districts took this to mean that children who do not take the test should be disciplined, either implementing sit and stare or telling parents that if their child does not take the test, stay home. Essentially, telling them to commit truancy. We as parents have been afforded the fundamental right to make decisions concerning the care, custody, and control of our children by the Supreme Court under the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. But school districts are challenging our rights by telling us that we cannot opt out when we clearly state we are refusing. They are playing word games. They clearly know what it is we are requesting. Why? Our children essentially are being punished because we as parents have made a decision based on facts. Those being that the park is not used for promotion to the next grade level or graduation from high school, that it has no validity, does not measure performance, has no diagnostic value, nor was it state developed or approved. Who, in their right mind, would think that a school district would implement such a test? The average parent who sends their child to school with the notion that schools will always do right by their children, that tests being given are necessary and will serve some purpose to help their child, are not being told the truth. Again, I ask why. In the case of Elizabeth School Districts, the superintendent told me that children will be placed in an alternate room with instruction. She also said the student would be in misconduct. What does that mean? I did not get clarification. When I asked for there to be a policy put in writing, she told me she could not do that. I informed her at the time that there were already at least 90 districts, more now, that have put a policy in writing. She told me very firmly, I will not go against my commissioner, that being Mr. Hespy. With no policy in writing, parents and teachers are left in the dark as to what exactly will happen. I truly do not understand why she would think putting a policy that details the procedures for a child who refuses the test is going against you, Mr. Hespy, who is not here. Especially since in January, you were quoted as saying this: every district should apply its own policies. If a student comes in and is disruptive, there should be a disciplinary policy for that. If they are not disruptive, you should have a policy to do with that child. We should not automatically assume that coming to school and not wanting to take a test is a disciplinary issue. I have attended our local board meeting to ask the Board of Ed to put a policy in writing. Nothing has happened as of yet. My fear is the Board of Ed does not want to go against their superintendent, but nobody seems to be concerned with going against the wishes of the parents. Will our school boards appear to be overly concerned about meeting its obligation to you, Mr. Hespy, who is not here? It is clearly neglecting its obligation to parents. My hope in coming here today is to ask that you please send out a memo to all superintendents superintendents, telling them that they should have a policy in writing given to parents so that they are aware of what will happen on the day of that sitting there and advising children to stay home is not, if not taking the test, is not acceptable. Nor should a child be deemed to be in misconduct if their parents have instructed them to not take the test. That although they are not required to provide instruction, children should be allowed to read or do other school-based work. Also, I think it is important to assure school districts that they will not lose funding if they don't have the 95% participation rate, as New Jersey has a waiver under the No Child Left Behind law that replaces those sanctions with a new accountability system. I have heard of superintendents and principals using this to coerce parents into having their child take the test. Parental decision to refuse is of great importance where the state is imposing an exam that lacks validity and is going to use it as a basis for teacher evaluation. I would like to leave you with this. There are countries such as Finland, which is considered to have one of the best educational systems in the world, Singapore, Canada, to name a few, that have consistently been leaders in education. Why are we as Americans trying to reinvent the wheel? Why are we not looking at these countries and seeing what has been proven to work and implementing it here in the US? Wouldn't that make sense? Instead, we have been utilizing years of standardized testing with no improvement in our system. In our constant race to the top, we as Americans are leaving children behind. Thank you.